Hey, Coach, I know BYU is no stranger to the state of Florida, and you head down to play UCF this year.
Yeah,
What do you know about Coach Malzahn's team?
yeah. I mean, I've been an admirer of Gus Malzahn as a coach and things that he's done in his career, and then got to know him quite a bit in the last few years on a personal level. He's a really good golfer, but what a great person, and enjoy my friendship with him and our camaraderie that we have. But I've been really impressed with this team and watching them play. I mean, it makes sense that he gets them playing at a high level, and so that and the talent that they have in Florida. I mean, my wife's from Central Florida, so I know exactly the type of talent that comes through that area. And she's a Polk County girl, so we're in Florida every year because I'm a good husband. Want to go take her back to her hometown, but yeah,
We
she's
call
a
that
Dundee
Polklando.
girl. What's that?
We call that Polklando.
There you go. Yeah, so she's from there. She's a Haines City High graduate and lived in a town called Dundee, which sounds small, and her neighbors are all orange groves. So we're excited to be there. It's nice that we're going there in November, which will be about the right time for us to want to get out of Utah and get into Florida. So it's going to be a fun game, and Coach Malzahn will have his guys ready. He's an exceptional coach, and just like a lot of the coaches in this conference, and I'm excited to compete against them.
Our UCF team we're considering themselves to be a strong running team between the quarterback that we got from Arkansas, Penny Boone, the transfer in, and then of course R.J. Harvey, who had a pretty solid season last
Yeah.
year. What do you think about your defense's ability to handle a run attack like that?
Yeah, I mean that's going to be difficult for anybody, So I know you have to play disciplined football, and seeing what Gus has done throughout his career, that they know how to utilize all their players, and quarterback's a run threat, and so you look at the talent that he's bringing in. It's going to be a tough task, but everybody has to deal with that, not just us.
Good enough. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
This year marks 40 years since BYU's national title in 1984. Is that legacy something you talk to your son about at all this year?
Well, I think the main thing is that we talk about LVL Edwards, who's a mentor of mine, and you look at just overall landscape of football and the influence that LVL Edwards has had, not just in the passing game, but just even in the coaches. I mean, you have Andy Reid, who's a Super Bowl champion that played for LaVell, and a lot of the things that he does in his team culture, I recognize from what LaVell did for us. Our program, we run it a lot of how LaVell did it for me when I was a player. Steve Sarkisian is doing the same thing at Texas, and Kyle Whittingham is doing very similar things at Utah. So, it's a good way to talk about a legend, LaVell Edwards, and our stadium's named after him. And a lot of the things that I do as a coach, I try to do what he did for me as a player. So this is the culture that we talk about is something that I think we've kind of revamped and used what he did for us. The old school principles still work, and hopefully that carries out into the way we play the game this year.
What specific things did you learn from him that you feel like apply most now? And is there anything that he did that you feel like you can't do nowadays because the game has changed?
No, he was really big on players and ownership of the team. I think he empowered the players to collaborate and be part of the program, make decisions. It's something that we try to do as well. I mean, it's within reason. You know what I mean? I think us coaches don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers, but if I talk and connect with a lot of different people, we can come up with some really cool ideas and conclusions and find different ways to do things. It's why BYU set the precedence in throwing the ball. And back then, they were one of the only few teams that went in the shotgun. And now everyone's doing shotgun, even Little League. So this is kind of the air raid, all that stuff came from what we did at BYU. And so when you talk about in reference to 1984, 40 years ago, I love it because you can talk about a man that I admire so much who's not on this earth anymore. But I keep in touch with his family, with his wife, Patty. And he's made a difference in our lives as coaches and as players. And there's a good amount of alumni that can say the same thing that I'm saying about LaVell. Thank you.
Coach, there's a lot of preparation last year to make a transition into the Big 12. And now you have a year of experience. How do you think it helps the players playing the Big 12
Yeah.
the second year?
World of a difference. I mean, I think in the general media part, I talked about comparing it to being a father for the first time. You can read all the books all you want. just kind of have to go through the experience. And those of you that are not fathers, you'll get there eventually, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's like you kind of just have to go through it. I think we had plenty of people that have gone through, like on our staff, that myself and Jay Hill and Aaron Roderick, we went through the transition when we were at Utah. And so we were trying to tell these guys what it's going to look like, but hard to do that until they do it themselves. And so having that experience is something that the natural learning process has happened, and those guys have already taken it they're taking the initiative themselves. And so it's working, and it's now they have something to compare it to. Now they have something to look at, and nothing's so unknown now. Now there's stuff that they can expect.
You obviously have, Utah. You've answered a few rivalry questions about them, but you also have Colorado and Arizona schools coming in.
Yeah.
What does it mean for BYU to have those regional opponents? So what happens if they did back in the day?
Yeah, it makes it easier for our travel. I mean, I think it makes sense adding the 4 teams right there, the Arizona schools and Colorado and Utah, and for me personally, it makes sense that Utah's on the schedule again, and that we belong in the same conference. It kind of just it feels like that's how it's supposed to be. So it's kind of nice that we're there now, and we're in that position where we're in the same conference, and we're going to see that game every year. I don't know where that's going to fall, but I like that it's going to be there consistent every year.
Kalani, you seem a little more serious this year than last year.
Oh, really?
Anyone back in San John's?
I crack jokes all the time, man. I think last year we were kind of the new guys still. You know what I mean? So that was our first time being in media day, and so I still got jokes. You just got to ask me the right questions, Jay. Maybe you guys are the ones that are more serious, asking me serious questions. But no, I feel like I'm the same person still. But there's definitely a sense of urgency that I want to. Now that we know what we're up against and what the players can kind of, they know what we were talking about the entire time. So I'm excited more than anything. I know maybe it looks serious, but I'm excited. I have a hard time just talking about it. I think talk can be really cheap. I just want to get to the season. I want to get to the game and see all the hard work happen from our guys. I've been really proud of our players and the way they've taken to the off-season conditioning and what I saw from spring football and what I'm seeing from the leadership on our team. And so I'm just more than anything just excited and want to get going.
Lonnie, I was talking.
I'm going to tell jokes later. We'll talk later.
I was talking to Brent. Who's the worst golfer? You and Brent?
Between me and Brennan? Oh, man. I didn't think I would have to answer which golfer's worse.
Things up around.
Yeah, I mean, I can be distracted easier because if there's food. I don't practice swing because all the practice swings I use, I always think that would have been a nice swing to hit the ball with. So, yeah. So I don't know if I'm good enough at golf. I do like it, and I do like being around people that golf. Our team golfs a lot, so I like just kind of being unplugged and being able to hang out with people. So, Brandon's a good golf partner for me to hang out with. Yeah, I do. Yeah, we play in that, and I think they invite me and Brent Brennan for the main reason that there's no threat for us to ever win that thing. So, I mean, we're not, as long as I can be like George Costanza, that I'm not showing off, but I'm not falling behind. I got to be right there in the middle.
Who's the best golfer as far as current head coaches that you know? Anyone stand out?
Gus Malzahn's a good golfer. I think, I'm trying to think, Rhett Lashley's a good golfer too. Rick Neuheisel's one of the best ones out there. So
That's why he's a former coach.
yeah. So I mean, there's some good golfers. I don't know. I feel like I'm leaving out some really good ones that are going to be offended by this. But yeah, you're making enemies right now.
I know. I'm asking everybody. There'll be a lot of
Okay.
a lot of trash talk.
I can tell you one thing: no one's going to say my name at best golfers. So,
Brent brought yours up, so I didn't know what you did.
but then you ask who's worse, me or Brent?
He said it's either me or Kalani.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
He said he shoots 120, 130.
BYU fans don't want to see my golf game get better right now. Trust me.
BYU
So
fans should be glad that they know you're not on the golf course anymore.
yeah, but I mean, I got time to golf here and there, but it's fun. Those of you that I've hit those one sweet shots, I'm like, that was worth it. Yeah, it just happens to be 1 out of 100 compared to everybody else. So yeah.
The players that talk feel they seemed like they were disappointed in their play last year, and you talked about consistency a lot this year. What's kind of like, how do you envision to reach goals this year?
Yeah, I think the consistency is going to be the key. I would be really, really worried if we were overwhelmed by talent and that we just definitely don't belong on the field. I don't think that was the case. I think if you talk to people that played against us, they can say, yeah, that team has some things that are going really well for them. But I also don't want to, just because the season ended up 5-7, I don't want to like overlook some of the good things that we did. You know, so I think we've got to praise some of the good things that we did, but then definitely need to change some of the things that we can improve on, and there's all those different variables that go into it, and that's my job as head coach, is to get us to play more consistently better. But I know having 1 year under their belt in the conference is going to help out quite a bit.
Yesterday, Brett Yormark announced the deal with Microsoft to have tablets down on the field. How do you anticipate having technology like that in your program out during games?
Yeah, we're going to work with all of it. I mean, it's kind of just, that's the way the game goes. I know that changes happen. We just adapt. We have a program where we don't complain about changes. We just kind of work with it. And we got to find a way to make it so it's a competitive advantage for us, and that's what we're going to do with it. So with that and the 2-minute timeout, or whatever you want to call it, the 2-minute break that's going to happen, there's a lot of things that are still going to be brand new. We have to educate ourselves and our team and our players on how to make it an advantage for us, and then work on it. I don't want to give up our ideas, but we have some really cool things that I think we're going to be able to do.
You mentioned earlier how you formulated this passing in a lot of ways just defines the way football is played. Really overstate the influence of it, but at the same time, his legacy in a different way could be more defined as not so much that he revolutionized passing, but just that he did stuff differently, right?
Yeah.
It was new and it was innovative. Is that spirit of innovation, not necessarily just with passing offense or whatever, but just in general, of innovating different kinds of offense, is that something that rubbed off?
Yeah, I think it rubbed off on a lot of coaches that played for him. I mean, you look at Andy Reid and what he's doing in the NFL. He's an innovator, and the things that they do. I mean, you remember some of the plays that they run. They did the ring around the rosy motion, things like that. I mean, a lot of it is just daring to do some things that, and then sometimes you dare to do things and it doesn't work out. I mean, that's just part of the deal. But I think you have to be in a position where let's try to just try things out, and if we have a good idea, let's put it to work. I mean, that's what BYU hangs their hat on. If that's our tradition, that's our background. It'd be foolish for us to go away from that now.
Is that something that fans will see from your team this year?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean, we've done some, but the game of football is not so. It's not just innovation versus innovation. It's like there's a lot of good things. We have to be able to see what works and what applies to our team. So it's just not, you can't just be out there just randomly doing a bunch of different things, but you can't be afraid to do it either. So it's a fine balance. Yeah.
Short series, it wasn't the same team week in, week out over seasons. But now as a member of the conference, you're going to face clients year in and year out.
Yeah.
How will that help your staff simplify planning for games where you understand what Oklahoma State is
Yeah.
year out under Mike Gundy?
I think it's just being familiar with your opponents is going to be the main theme, is that we're able to be a lot more familiar with settings. The hard part of independence is that you're playing at different venues that you wouldn't ever see again. You know, and so now there can be some consistency in going. We know what it feels like to play at Baylor, and we're going to do that again this year. We just happen to play there in, I think, 2021. So whenever you get the ability to be familiar with an environment, with an opponent, with a certain type of scheme and a style of play, that'll help you. So I think this is still brand new territory for us. So as we go through it, we're still the new guys, you know. Well, not as new as the 4 guys that we added, but we're still relatively new to the conference. And there's teams that we're playing that we didn't play last year, and the teams that we're not playing this year that we will play next year. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
You obviously were
doesn't
part of
really
the
affect
transition
me.
from
I mean, not
Utah
really,
going
because at the
into
end of the day,
Pac-12
you got to
Yeah.
line
to
up.
Mountain West.
Once that whistle blows,
Was there
it blows,
anything
and
that
it's time to go.
caught you
So
off guard that you
that's gonna be
expected
good.
to be
But
some way
I feel
going
like,
from
yeah, watching
independent
film,
to
watching
power
film, seeing
conference in the Big
tendencies,
12
but
that caught
a
you
lot
by
of teams have a
surprise
lot
and
of tendencies.
was a little different than maybe you thought it would have been having gone through that previous transition?
Well, it was just different. I mean, going from the Pac-12 was a different conference than the Big 12. You know what I mean? So that was different, but in the same way, there's a lot of similarities. So I think for us was like the physical part of the game was definitely present, and that's something that we expected. So you can see it when you watch film, and you know what these coaches are about. I mean, you've met them all. That these coaches are committed to being physical and being violent. So you're not going to come through this conference and kind of have success if you're not going to match the level of physicality. So we knew that, but you just have to kind of go through the motions. You have to go through the feeling. It's hard to simulate that in a scrimmage, or even telling the players they have to go through that experience themselves. And now that they have, I feel like we're in a much better spot than we were last year.
You had a media day in Dallas last year. Now the media day is
We know he's a great coach.
Yeah.
sort of
He
familiar
was in
grounds.
the national championship 2019, leading one of the greatest defenses in LSU history. I mean,
Well,
I believe in Coach Ryan.
the thing that's similar between the two is that the Big 12 does it big, and they do it right. So it's been first class. Last year in Dallas was first class. This year in Vegas is first class, and we're just getting stronger. We obviously added some great partners and teams in the conference, so we feel really good about it. And I feel really good about the leadership in the Big 12. I mean, I honestly love what Brett Yormark does as commissioner, and I like his vision, and I trust him, man. So wherever he wants to have the next media days, I'm gonna be excited to go there. So, but it's nice that we're closer to home on this one. I imagine next year we'll probably head back, Texas or somewhere. But I know one thing, that the Big 12 staff and crew will do it the right way and make it a first-class event.
Since you've been at BYU, college football seems like it's been flipped on its head. You've got NIL, you've got conference changes, the new playoff structure. How do you anticipate the game changing as a whole over the next 5 to 10 years? And will it look similar to what it is today?
Well, I think you have to look at the NFL and what they're doing. So I imagine there's always going to be changes. That was kind of part of college football. It's not been, that hasn't been new. The deals with targeting and all that stuff. There's different rules that they're tweaking here and there. So that's part of our that's kind of part of our operating. That we just know that there's going to be some new things to it, new rules, maybe some added things to it, that like with the technology on the sideline, stuff like that. But we're just ready for whatever, man. Whatever the NCAA and the Big 12 say to do, and we're allowed to do it, we're going to do it, and we're going to try to do it right.
Oh yeah, they had it wrong with me being that corner. Even though I came in.
All right, guys, thank you. Appreciate it.